You find yourself standing on a vast and quiet plain, where the air itself seems ancient. The sun is low in the sky, a warm, heavy gold that stretches the shadows of the smallest stones into long, dark fingers across the dry, golden grasses. A gentle wind, borne miles away over the Zagros Mountains, travels without hurry to meet you, carrying the scent of dust, wild thyme, and something else. Something like the memory of stone that has been warmed by the sun for 3,000 years. The world you have left behind, with its noise and its haste, feels like a distant dream, a story told in another language. Here, the only sound is the soft, rhythmic whisper of the wind breathing through the grass, a sound that has no beginning and no end. It is a lullaby for the earth itself. And here, in the quiet, you find your breath. You feel it enter, cool and clean, and leave, warm and slow. With each breath, the line between you and this timeless landscape begins to soften, to dissolve. You are not just looking at this place, you are becoming a part of its stillness. Before you, rising from the plain, is a colossal stone terrace, a man-made mountain of pale, honey-colored limestone. It seems less to have been built upon the earth and more to have grown from it, a natural geologic formation given purpose and form by patient, reverent hands. Upon this terrace, you can just make out the silhouettes of broken columns, standing like a petrified forest against the deepening amber of the sky. This is Persepolis, the city of the Persians, a place that has been sleeping for centuries, waiting patiently in the sun. It does not loom or intimidate. Instead, it invites. It feels like a memory you have always carried within you, now finally taking shape in the world outside. The invitation is not in a sound, but in the quality of the light, in the pull of the immense silence that blankets this place. It asks for nothing but your quiet presence. It asks you to walk, to listen, and to feel. Your journey begins with a single step, onto a path that is barely there, a faint impression in the earth leading towards the foot of the great terrace. The ground beneath your feet is soft, a mixture of fine dust and crushed herbs that release their faint, spicy fragrance as you move. Your pace is unhurried, matching the slow drift of the clouds overhead. There is no need to rush. Time moves differently here. The seconds stretch into long, peaceful moments, and the minutes feel as deep and wide as the sky. As you draw closer, the scale of the terrace becomes clearer. It is a monument not to power in the way you understand it, but to a kind of profound permanence, a belief that beauty and order could be etched into the very rock of the world. You can feel the intention that built this place, a desire to create a sanctuary of peace on earth, a mirror to the serene order of the heavens. It was meant to be a place where the world could come together, not in conflict, but in celebration. Now you stand at the base of the grand staircase, the ceremonial entrance to the terrace. It is a double staircase, a magnificent, symmetrical embrace of stone that flows down from the platform above. The steps are wide and exceptionally shallow, so shallow that it is said the Persian nobles and the emissaries from distant lands could ascend on horseback. But you are on foot, and you feel the unique rhythm these stairs impose. You cannot climb them quickly. You are compelled to move with a slow, deliberate grace. You place your foot upon the first step. The stone is warm from the day's sun, a stored heat that seems to pulse faintly into the sole of your shoe. It is a feeling of immense stability, of solid connection to the earth. You begin to ascend. Left foot, then right. The movement is gentle, almost a glide. With each step, the plain recedes behind you, and the world of the terrace begins to rise up to meet you. The sound of your own footsteps is soft, a gentle brushing against the stone, lost in the vastness of the space. The wind is your only companion, whispering encouragement, cooling your skin. You are not climbing toward something, but rather you are returning. You feel the ancient calm, and you breathe with it. As you ascend, you run your hand along the low stone wall that borders the staircase. The limestone is not perfectly smooth. It holds the subtle texture of its long life. You can feel the faint, almost imperceptible undulations left by the stonemason's tools, a story told in texture rather than words. You can feel the even finer grain of the stone itself, and the places where centuries of wind and rain have softened the edges, polishing them to a silken finish. It feels alive, like the skin of the earth. You can almost feel the echoes of other hands that have traced this same path, the hands of guards in fine linen, of diplomats in embroidered silks, of artisans with calloused fingers, of kings with rings of gold and lapis lazuli. Their presence is not a ghostly apparition, but a subtle energy infused into the very substance of the stone, a warmth that has nothing to do with the sun. You pause halfway up the staircase and turn around. The view is breathtaking. The plain stretches out to the horizon, a tapestry of gold and green under the immense clear sky. The world you came from is completely out of sight, and all that exists is this quiet ascent, this slow journey between the earth and the sky. The top of the staircase opens onto the terrace proper, and you are greeted by the first great structure, the Gate of All Nations. It is a monumental entrance, a square hall that once had a roof of cedar and was flanked by 4 colossal columns, 2 of which still stand, their fluted forms reaching for the sky. But your attention is captured by the guardians of the gate. On the western entrance, where you now stand, are 2 immense lamassu, mythical figures with the bodies of bulls, the wings of eagles, and the calm, bearded faces of kings. They are carved from single blocks of dark gray stone, their presence immense and yet profoundly peaceful. They are not here to threaten or to ward off evil in a fearsome way. They are here to welcome. Their gaze is serene. Their posture is one of dignified rest. They have been waiting for you. You step closer to the northernmost bull. It is immense, towering over you, yet its energy is one of gentle strength. The details are astonishing. You can see the fine, curling hairs of the beard, each one carved with incredible precision. You can see the powerful muscles of the bull's legs, tensed as if ready to walk, and the intricate layers of feathers in the eagle's wings, which are folded peacefully at its side. You reach out your hand, hesitantly, and touch the cool, solid stone of its flank. The surface is smoother than you expected, worn by the touch of millennia of wind. There is a sense of immense, quiet power in this creature, the power of the earth in its body, the freedom of the sky in its wings, and the wisdom of humanity in its face. It is a symbol of a perfectly balanced whole, a greeter at the threshold of a place that sought to embody that same balance. The stillness deepens, and your breath follows. You stand in the shadow of this magnificent being, and you feel a sense of profound peace settle over you, a feeling of being protected and welcomed into a sacred space. Your focus shifts from the grand form to a single tiny detail. On the stone between the lamassu and the doorway, you notice an inscription. It is cuneiform, the ancient wedge-shaped script of the Achaemenid Empire. The characters are carved deeply into the stone, their edges softened by time. You cannot read the words, but you can trace their shapes with your eyes. You see the clean vertical lines, the small sharp triangles pressed into the stone by a master carver. You lean closer, so close that your breath mists the cool surface for a moment before vanishing. You are looking at a single character, no larger than your thumb. A wedge, a line, another wedge. It is a single frozen thought from a person who lived and breathed 25 centuries ago. What did it say? It is a trilingual inscription, a proclamation from King Xerxes, announcing that it was by the grace of the great god Ahura Mazda that he built this gate of all nations. But the specific meaning is less important than the simple fact of its existence. This tiny, deliberate mark has survived empires, conquests, fires, and the slow, relentless passage of time. It is a whisper across an ocean of silence. You place your fingertips gently over the character, feeling the crisp edges of the cut stone. For a moment, you feel a direct connection to the hand that carved it, a shared moment of intention that collapses the vast distance of history into a single intimate touch. It is a reminder that this magnificent place was built not by gods or giants, but by human beings whose thoughts and hopes are still held here, whispering in the stone. You draw your hand back and step through the great stone doorway, crossing the threshold from the outer world into the heart of Persepolis. The air inside the gatehouse seems to change. It is cooler here, sheltered from the direct sun. The wind, which was a constant presence outside, is now hushed, its voice softened as it moves through the massive portals. The light is different too. It streams in through the eastern and western doorways, creating pools of gold on the stone floor, while the rest of the space is held in a soft, luminous shadow. You are now inside. The journey has truly begun. You are standing on the great flagstones of the floor. They are enormous, perfectly fitted together, and worn smooth in the center, creating a shallow, subtle channel where millions of footsteps have passed. You can almost feel the gentle pressure of those feet, the soft slide of leather shoes, the heavier tread of sandaled soldiers, the bare feet of servants. You can imagine the space filled with a quiet, respectful hum of activity. Emissaries from Lydia, Babylonia, Egypt, and India, all waiting in this cool, shaded space before being granted entry into the king's presence. You can almost hear the soft rustle of their robes, the murmur of different languages spoken in low, reverent tones, the scent of the exotic perfumes and spices they carried as gifts. You stand still, in the center of the hall, and just listen with your entire being. You listen for the echoes, the resonances of the life that once filled this space. The silence is not empty. It is full of stories. You feel the ancient calm, and you breathe with it. You walk towards the eastern doorway, the exit that leads onto the main processional way of the terrace. This entrance is also guarded by Lamassu, but these are different. They are man-headed bulls, and they face inward, towards the heart of the city. As you pass between them, you feel a subtle shift, another layer of transition. You have passed through the welcome and are now entering the ceremonial core. The view that opens before you is one of majestic, ordered space. A wide avenue of stone stretches out before you, leading towards the grandest buildings of the complex. To your right, rising on its own secondary platform, is the Apadana, the great audience hall, its few remaining columns soaring into the sky like the trunks of ancient stone trees. To your left are the ruins of the Hall of 100 Columns, the Throne Hall. The scale is immense, designed to inspire awe, yet the effect is one of harmony, not oppression. The buildings are arranged in a clear, geometric grid, a reflection of a worldview that valued order, balance, and cosmic alignment. You do not take the main path just yet. Instead, you feel drawn to a quieter area, a space that feels less formal, less monumental. You turn to the south, towards the edge of the terrace, where the grand structures give way to what feels like a more natural, untamed space. Here, the meticulously laid flagstones are less frequent, and patches of earth have been exposed. From these patches, life has returned. You are walking into what feels like a secluded grove, though it is a grove of a unique kind. There are no trees here, no olives, as you might find in other ancient lands. This is a grove of stone and resilience. Wild caper bushes, their leaves a dusty green, grow in thick mounds from the cracks between the stones. Their long, thorny tendrils cascade over the edges of ancient foundations, softening the sharp lines of the past. Small, hardy wildflowers, little bursts of yellow and purple, press up through the hard-packed earth, their faces turned towards the gentle sun. It is a garden born of time and neglect, a place where nature is slowly and gracefully reclaiming the works of man. You find a low wall, the remnant of some long-vanished building, and you sit. The stone is still warm, and it is covered in a fine lacework of pale green and gray lichen, a testament to its long, patient communion with the air and the rain. From here, you have a view that is both intimate and vast. You can see the intricate patterns of the lichen at your fingertips, and you can see the grand columns of the Apadana in the distance. The wind is a little stronger here, at the edge of the terrace. It sighs through the leaves of the caper bushes and makes a low, humming sound as it passes over the broken tops of the distant columns. It is a sound that seems to carry the loneliness and the peace of the centuries. It is the only music here. In this secluded corner, away from the grand processional routes, you feel the true spirit of this place. It is not just a ruin, it is a living entity. It is a conversation between the human dream of eternity, carved in stone, and the patient, persistent, and ultimately victorious cycles of the natural world. Here, the grand history of kings and empires feels less important than the simple, beautiful fact of a wildflower growing in the shade of a fallen capital. The light is changing now. The gold is deepening into a soft, rosy pink, and the shadows are growing longer, softer, blurring the edges of the stones. The air is becoming cooler, and the scent of the dry earth and herbs is more pronounced. You can feel the day settling into a deep and profound quiet. The stillness is no longer just around you, it is inside you. Your thoughts have slowed to a gentle drift. Like the clouds, your body is relaxed, settled into the warm stone. You are simply present, a quiet observer in a quiet world. This is the gift of the threshold, the transition from the world of doing to the world of being. You have crossed over not just into an ancient city, but into a different state of existence. A place where time is measured by the slow march of shadows and the patient growth of lichen on a stone. This is a place of profound and gentle beginnings, a foundation upon which a deeper peace can be built. You look out over the ruins, washed in the soft, fading light of dusk. The wind breathes its ancient song. The stillness deepens and your breath follows. You are here. You have arrived, and the journey has only just begun. The first star of evening appears in the pale violet sky, a single, steady point of light directly above the tallest, most distant column. It is a silent, timeless greeting, a welcome home to a place you have never been but have always known. The sun has now dipped below the horizon, but the sky is still full of light, a soft, ethereal glow that seems to rise from the stones themselves. It is the afterglow, a time of quiet magic. The sharp details of the day are gone, replaced by soft shapes and deep, velvety shadows. The columns of the Apadana are no longer individual structures, but a collective silhouette, a dark comb against the luminous sky. The world has been simplified, reduced to its essential forms: stone, earth, sky, and silence. The wind has softened to a mere whisper, a faint breath against your cheek. The temperature continues to drop, and the coolness of the stone beneath you begins to seep into your clothes, a grounding sensation that connects you even more deeply to this place. You feel rooted, as if you, too, could sit here for centuries, watching the stars emerge one by one. From your seat in this stone grove, you let your gaze wander without direction, allowing it to rest on whatever it finds. It settles on a single, large block of stone lying on its side, half buried in the earth. It was probably part of a wall or a doorway, but its original purpose is now a mystery. Its surface is a canvas of time. A deep crack runs through it, and in that crack, a tiny tenacious fern has taken root. Its delicate green fronds a startling contrast to the massive, weathered stone. You contemplate this small scene. It is the story of Persepolis in miniature, the immense, powerful, man-made structure, now broken, has become a cradle for a small, fragile, living thing. There is no violence in this transformation, no sense of loss. It is a gentle, natural succession. The stone provides shelter, the fern provides beauty. It is a new kind of harmony, one that was not planned by the architects and kings, but one that has emerged from the slow, patient dance of time and nature. And here, in the quiet, you find your breath again. It feels deeper now, slower. Each inhalation seems to draw in the peace of the evening, the coolness of the air, the scent of the ancient earth. Each exhalation feels like a letting go, a release of all the tension and noise you carried with you to this place. You feel your body becoming heavier, more settled. The boundary between the stone you are sitting on and your own form feels less distinct. You are part of the landscape, another still form in the deepening twilight. The profound reflection that settles upon you is one of beginnings. This place, for all its age and its ruinous state, feels like a beginning. It is the start of a journey inward. By stepping across the physical threshold of the gate of all nations, you have also stepped across a threshold within yourself, entering a space of quiet contemplation that is always available, but so often forgotten in the rush of the everyday world. The ruins of Persepolis are not a monument to a dead past, but a living guide to a timeless present. They teach you the beauty of stillness, the grace of simplicity, and the profound peace that comes from surrendering to the slow, gentle rhythms of the world. You close your eyes for a moment, not to sleep, but to feel the world through your other senses. You feel the cool, dry air on your eyelids. You feel the solid, unwavering support of the stone beneath you. You hear the almost imperceptible whisper of the wind, and below that, a deeper silence, the vast, resonant silence of the earth itself. You can smell the subtle, complex perfume of the evening, the mineral scent of the limestone, the dusty fragrance of the path, the spicy aroma of the crushed herbs, and the clean, metallic hint of the coming night. It is a world that is rich, full, and deeply peaceful. When you open your eyes again, the sky has deepened to a dark velvety blue, and more stars have appeared. They are not the faint, distant points of light you see from a modern city. They are brilliant, sharp, and they seem incredibly close, as if you could reach out and touch them. They are the same stars that Xerxes and Darius looked upon, the same eternal constellations that guided the Magi. They are a ceiling of silent, shimmering light for this roofless temple. It is time to move, not with purpose or destination, but simply to continue the slow, dreamlike exploration. You rise from the stone wall, your body feeling rested and calm. You walk slowly away from your secluded grove, back towards the main part of the terrace. Your feet move without conscious thought, finding their way over the uneven ground. The flagstones of the processional way seem to gleam faintly in the starlight, their worn surfaces reflecting the celestial light. You are walking now between the memory of great halls. The darkness hides the ruin, and for a moment, you can almost imagine the walls are still standing. You can almost see the flicker of torchlight from within, hear the faint echo of music or a chanted prayer. The imaginative layer of the past feels incredibly close, a thin veil separating your time from theirs. You are walking through two versions of Persepolis at once, the silent, starlit ruin of the present, and the vibrant, living city of your mind's gentle reconstruction. You pause and look up at one of the remaining columns of the Apadana. It rises into the night sky, a stark, elegant line of black against the star-dusted velvet. It seems to be a conduit, a connection between the solid earth and the infinite cosmos. It is a testament to the human aspiration to reach for something higher, something eternal. And in its brokenness, it is also a testament to the humility of that aspiration. It reaches, but it does not touch. It stands, but it is not whole. There is a profound poetry in its imperfection. It is more beautiful now, in its silent ruin, than it ever could have been in its pristine glory. For now it speaks not only of the ambition of kings, but also of the gentle, irresistible power of time. It speaks of acceptance, of surrender, of the beauty that is found in what remains. The end of this first part of your journey finds you standing at the foot of this column, your hand resting on its cool, fluted base. The stone feels incredibly solid, an anchor in the silent, spinning world. You look up its impossible length to where it fractures against the sky. The stars seem to pivot around its broken tip. The wind has stilled completely. The silence is absolute. It is a silence that rings, a presence in itself. This is the image you are left with, an image that can loop indefinitely in your mind. The tall, dark column, the brilliant, silent stars, the feeling of the cool, eternal stone beneath your hand, the vast, peaceful emptiness of the night. You are a small, still point in a vast, still universe, and you are at peace. The stillness deepens, and your breath follows, becoming as slow and silent as the night itself. You have crossed the threshold. You are here. You are home. You return to the heart of the great stone terrace. The air is still and cool from the night, but a new light is beginning to touch the world. The stars are fading in the east, and the sky is softening from black to a deep, luminous indigo. The scent of damp stone and the faint, spicy fragrance of wild herbs remain with you, a memory of the quiet grove. You feel the solid, ancient flagstones beneath your feet, a grounding presence in the immense silence. As the first hint of dawn's warmth touches the top of a distant column, you feel the ancient calm, and you breathe with it, a slow, deep rhythm that welcomes the new day in this timeless place. The journey continues as the light grows, moving away from the solitary grandeur of the Apadana and towards the areas where the daily pulse of the city would have been most strongly felt. You are walking along the wide processional way, the main artery that once connected the gate of all nations to the throne hall. The flagstones here are wider, more imposing, and their surfaces are worn into gentle, shallow valleys by the passage of countless feet. This was not a path for quiet reflection. It was a stage for the magnificent theater of the Achaemenid Empire. As the sun rises, casting a pale, golden light that skims across the surface of the stones, you begin to gently reconstruct the scene. The silence begins to fill with the echoes of life. You close your eyes for a moment and listen. At first, you hear only the faint whisper of the morning breeze, but then another sound begins to emerge from the quiet. It is a low, rhythmic murmur, the sound of 1,000 voices speaking in 100 different languages. This was the Agora, the great meeting place, where the delegations from all the subject nations would gather. Can you hear them? The deep, guttural tones of the Babylonians, the fluid, musical cadence of the Ionian Greeks, the clipped, precise speech of the Egyptians, the soft, sibilant whispers of the Indians. They are all here, a vast human tapestry woven from every corner of the known world. They have traveled for months, crossing deserts and mountains, to bring their tribute and their loyalty to the King of Kings. Open your eyes and see them. The light is stronger now, and the air shimmers with imagined color. See the Scythians in their pointed hats and heavy leather garments, their faces weathered by the harsh winds of the steppes. See the Ethiopians, their dark skin gleaming, adorned with ivory and gold, carrying elephant tusks as gifts. See the Lydians, famous for their wealth, in robes of the richest purple dye, their hands carrying bowls filled with gold dust. See the Bactrians, leading their magnificent two-humped camels, laden with rare spices and precious stones. The air is thick with the scent of their offerings, the heavy, sweet perfume of frankincense from Arabia, the sharp, pungent aroma of cinnamon and cardamom from the east, the clean, resinous scent of cedarwood from Lebanon. It is a symphony of sight, sound, and smell, a testament to the immense diversity and unity of the empire. They are not a conquered people, sullen and resentful. The reliefs carved on the nearby staircases show them as they are in your mind's eye, dignified, proud, walking with calm and open faces. They have come to participate in a great ritual, a celebration of the peace and order that the empire provided. This space was built to hold this very scene, to be a container for the peaceful coexistence of all peoples. The path is wide enough for all of them to walk together. You begin to walk again, your pace slow and measured, as if you are part of this ghostly procession. You feel the weight and the texture of their imagined clothing, the soft wool, the cool linen, the smooth silk. You feel the warmth of the rising sun on your face, the same sun that warmed their faces. You are walking with them. The grand political purpose of this gathering fades into the background, and what emerges is a profound sense of shared, simple human experience. These were people. They felt the weariness of a long journey, the awe of standing in this magnificent place, perhaps a touch of anxiety before meeting the king, and the simple comfort of standing together with their countrymen so far from home. You feel a connection to them that transcends time and culture. It is the connection of being human, of walking the earth under the same sun. The beauty of this place is not just in its stone and its scale, but in the quiet dignity of the shared experience it was designed to foster. Your path leads you away from the great ceremonial avenue and towards a series of smaller, more modest structures. These are the remains of what historians believe were the garrison quarters and, perhaps, the workshops for the artisans who built and maintained this incredible city. Here, the grand flagstones give way to simpler packed earth floors and smaller, more functional rooms. The atmosphere changes. The formal, reverent hush of the processional way is replaced by a different kind of quiet, one that holds the memory of focused, rhythmic work. This is where you will listen for the echoes of craft. You stand in the center of what was once a large courtyard, surrounded by the low, crumbling walls of numerous small chambers. The sun is higher now, its light clear and bright, illuminating every detail of the weathered stone and the hardy plants growing among them. You are drawn to one particular chamber, a small, square room with a low stone bench running along one wall. You sit on the bench, the stone cool in the shade of the ruined wall. You imagine this as a potter's workshop. Close your eyes and let the scene build itself around you. The air is warm and smells of damp clay, of wet earth and minerals. In the center of the room, a man sits at a simple wooden wheel. He is focused, his body moving in a steady, practiced rhythm. His foot pumps a pedal, and the wheel begins to spin, a low, hypnotic whirring sound that fills the small space. On the wheel is a lump of wet, gray clay. The potter dips his hands in a bowl of water and then cups them around the clay. The sound changes to a soft, wet shushing as his hands shape the spinning earth. You can almost feel the cool, slippery texture of the clay, the way it yields and responds to the gentle, confident pressure of his fingers. He is not forcing it. He is guiding it. It is a dance between the will of the artisan and the nature of the material. Slowly, a shape begins to emerge. The walls of the vessel rise up, thinning as they climb, forming a graceful, swelling curve. The potter's hands are steady, his gaze unwavering. All his attention, all his being, is focused on this single, simple act of creation. The rhythmic whir of the wheel, the soft sound of hand on clay, the gentle dripping of water, these sounds create a lullaby of labor, a song of quiet dedication. Around the room, on shelves, you can see the finished products of his work: simple, elegant bowls, tall water jars, and small, delicate cups. They are not grand works of art meant for the king's table, but the humble, essential vessels of daily life. They would be used by the soldiers, the servants, the other craftsmen. Each one is a small testament to the beauty that can be found in utility, the grace that can be infused into an ordinary object through skilled and loving hands. You can feel the profound peace in this room, the deep satisfaction of making something useful and beautiful with your own hands. It is a quiet dignity that needs no audience, no applause. It is the simple, honest joy of craft. From the potter's workshop, you wander into an adjacent space. The light here is different, dustier. Shafts of sunlight pierce the imaginary gloom from high windows, illuminating countless dancing motes. The air smells of stone dust and the faint, sharp scent of metal. This is the workshop of the stone carvers, the very men who chiseled the magnificent reliefs on the Apadana staircase. Here, the defining sound is a sharp, rhythmic tap, tap, tap. It is the sound of a metal chisel striking a wooden mallet, which in turn strikes the limestone. It is a constant, percussive rhythm, a chorus of creation. You can see them, men with strong arms and hands, their bodies covered in a fine white powder. They are working on long blocks of stone, some destined for the walls, others for the capitals of columns. One man is carving a rosette, his chisel carefully outlining the delicate petals. Another is working on a row of Persian guards for a relief, his tool defining the crisp folds of a robe, the curl of a beard, the strap of a sandal. Their focus is absolute. Each tap of the mallet is precise, deliberate. A single mistake, a moment of inattention, could ruin weeks of work. This is not fast work. It is a slow, patient conversation with the stone. They are not just carving a surface, they are releasing a form that sleeps within the block. You feel the immense patience required for this work. The years of apprenticeship it took to learn the feel of the stone, to know exactly how much pressure to apply, how to read the grain and the flaws. It is a skill passed down from father to son, a legacy of knowledge held in the muscles and the hands. The rhythmic tapping is like the city's heartbeat, a steady, creative pulse that underlies all the pomp and ceremony. Without these anonymous, dedicated hands, there would be no grandeur, no Persepolis. Their quiet, patient labor is the true foundation of this entire place. Now you move to another area, a place that feels quieter still. You imagine a long, narrow room, a scriptorium. Here, the work is silent, but no less intense. You see scribes sitting cross-legged on reed mats, clay tablets resting on their laps. The only sounds are the faint, dry scrape of a reed stylus on a damp clay tablet, and the soft rustle of someone unrolling a papyrus scroll. The air smells of clay, reed, and ink. These are the administrators, the keepers of records. They are recording the tribute brought by the delegations, the amount of grain stored in the treasuries, the wages paid to the workers. Their work is one of lines and wedges, of numbers and names. It is the invisible framework that holds the vast empire together. You focus on one scribe. He is young, his brow furrowed in concentration. His stylus moves quickly and precisely, pressing the wedge-shaped characters into the soft clay. It is a language of pure order, of logic and record. Yet, in his focused silence, there is a kind of meditative calm. He is creating a small piece of permanence, a record of a moment in time that will be baked in a kiln and stored in the archives, a message sent to the future. You think of the tablets that have been found here, preserved for millennia, their mundane records of wine rations and silver payments, providing an intimate glimpse into the daily life of this city. The work of the scribe, like that of the potter and the stone carver, is a testament to the human need to create order and meaning. Whether it is in a shapely pot, a beautiful carving, or a well-kept ledger, the sun is now high in the sky, and its heat is beginning to radiate from the stones. You feel a sense of thirst, and this thought leads you to your next destination. You wander through the maze of ruined walls until you find what you are looking for, a part of the complex and sophisticated water system that sustain the city. You have found a deep, stone-lined channel, what was once a key part of the drainage system, but also channeled fresh water to various parts of the terrace. And here, you imagine a public fountain house, a place of refreshment and community. The centerpiece is a large stone basin, now dry and filled with dust and leaves. But you can see it as it was. A steady stream of cool, clear water pours from a carved lion's head into the basin, the sound a constant, musical splash and gurgle that echoes pleasantly in the shaded space. This sound, is the very essence of life and relief in this dry, sun-drenched land. It is a magnet for the community. You can see the people gathering here, soldiers in their off-duty hours, servants taking a break from their chores, women from the nearby households, their faces veiled, all coming to fill their clay jars with water. The air is cooler here, and the sound of the water seems to wash away the heat and the dust. This is not a place of formal ceremony or silent labor. It is a place of conversation, of gossip, of shared stories. The sound of splashing water is mixed with the murmur of voices and the occasional burst of laughter. It is a place where the rigid hierarchies of the empire might soften for a moment. People share news from their homelands, complain about a strict overseer, or simply enjoy a moment of rest in the cool shade. You can almost feel the coolness of the water on your skin, the relief it brings. You can hear the hollow plunk as a jar is dipped into the basin, the heavier, gurgling sound as it is filled to the brim. The fountain is the social heart of this part of the city, a place of shared, vital necessity. The water, like the community, is a source of life. This simple, life-sustaining ritual of gathering water is a bond that connects everyone here, from the lowest servant to the highest noble. It is a reminder that beneath the grand imperial project, life is made up of these small, essential, and shared moments of being. The stillness deepens, and your breath follows, slow and steady like the imagined flow of the water. As the imagined scene at the fountain house fades, you are left with the silence of the dry stone channel. The sound of splashing water becomes a memory, but the feeling of coolness and relief remains. You sit on the edge of the channel, your legs dangling into the empty space, and you trail your fingers along the smooth, water-worn stone at the bottom. It has been polished by centuries of flow, and it feels like cool silk. You reflect on the echoes of life you have encountered on this part of your journey. You have moved from the grand public stage of the empire to the intimate, behind-the-scenes world of its daily life. You have felt the dignity of the diverse peoples gathering in peace, the quiet dedication of the hands that built and sustained this place, and the simple, universal joy of community gathered around water. It is a reminder that history is not just about kings and battles. It is about the countless, nameless people whose daily lives, whose steady work, and simple interactions create the fabric of a civilization. The grand vision of Persepolis was dreamed by kings, but it was brought to life and given its pulse by the hands of the potter, the chisel of the carver, the pen of the scribe, and the shared laughter at the fountain. The beauty you feel here is the beauty of a community, a complex and interwoven ecosystem of human effort and experience. The afternoon sun is strong now, and the heat creates a shimmering haze over the distant parts of the terrace. The ruins seem to dream in the heat, their sharp edges softened. The imagined sounds of the marketplace, the workshop, and the fountain have faded completely, returning the world to its deep and profound silence. All that is left is the sun, the stone, and the gentle whispering wind. The lullaby-like rhythm of the imagined work has quieted your mind, leaving it clear and calm. You are filled with a sense of connection to the anonymous lives that unfolded here, a feeling of gratitude for their patient, creative energy, which is still palpable in the air. Their spirits are not haunting this place. They are woven into its very fabric. You are not walking through a dead city, but through a living testament to the enduring power of community and craft. To end this part of your journey, you stay seated by the dry water channel. You close your eyes again, returning to the sound that started this reverie of community. Not the grand murmur of the procession, but the simple, life-giving sound of water. You imagine a single drop of water falling from the lion's head into the full basin. You hear the clear, bell-like plink as it strikes the surface. You see the concentric ripples spreading out, shimmering in the light, until they gently touch the stone edges of the basin. Another drop falls, and another. A slow, steady, peaceful rhythm, plink, plink, plink. It is a sound of continuity, of life, of endless refreshment. It is a sound that can wash over you, cleansing your thoughts, leaving only a state of deep, calm awareness. This is the image, the sound that you can carry with you. A loop of perfect, peaceful simplicity. The sound of a single drop of water falling into a pool of silence. A symbol of the life that was, and the profound peace that is. And in the quiet, you find your breath, falling and rising in the same steady, life-giving rhythm. You return to the quiet of the sun-drenched terrace. The imagined sound of falling water has faded, leaving behind a feeling of deep calm and refreshment. The heat of the afternoon is at its peak, radiating from the immense stones and creating a shimmering veil over the ruins. You feel the sun warm on your skin, a heavy, soothing blanket. The air is still, and the prevailing silence is no longer an absence of sound, but a presence in itself, a vast, resonant quiet that holds the memory of all the voices and all the work that came before. You are moving now from the public and communal spaces into the heart of the inner sanctum, seeking shade, solitude, and the contemplative quiet of contained spaces. You feel the ancient calm, and you breathe with it, your breath slowing to match the sleepy, heated stillness of the afternoon. Your path takes you towards the southeastern corner of the terrace, to a slightly elevated platform where the private palaces of the kings once stood. As you ascend a small, more intimate set of stairs, the atmosphere begins to change. The grand, open vistas of the ceremonial grounds are replaced by a more human-scaled environment. You are entering the personal world of the rulers, the space behind the public facade. You step through a doorway, a simple stone frame that now opens to the sky, and you find yourself in what was once the courtyard of a private villa. You have chosen the Tahara, the Palace of Darius, a building known for its exquisite stonework and its almost perfectly preserved state. Although its roof is long gone and its walls are fragmented, it retains a powerful sense of enclosure and intimacy. Here, the primary element is shadow. The sun, so dominant outside, is here tamed and sculpted by the remaining walls and towering door jambs. You immediately seek the shade, stepping into the deep, cool shadow cast by a massive stone portal. The transition is instantaneous and profound. The heat lifts from your skin, replaced by a refreshing coolness that seems to rise from the stone itself. The light is transformed from a brilliant, uniform glare into a dynamic interplay of bright, sharp-edged shapes and deep, soft-edged darkness. The world is rendered in a beautiful, simplified monochrome of light and shadow. You stand for a long moment, simply feeling this transition, allowing your eyes to adjust to the lower light. The silence here feels different. It is deeper, more contained. The vast silence of the terrace has been focused into a more intimate, personal quiet within these walls. It is the quiet of a private room, the silence of solitude. You begin to explore the courtyard. It is a small, rectangular space, and you can trace the foundations of the rooms that once surrounded it. In the center, you can imagine a small garden, perhaps with a single, graceful pomegranate tree and a channel of water running through it, cooling the air. Now, only a few resilient desert plants grow in the cracks of the paving stones. You walk slowly, your footsteps the only sound, a soft scuffing on the ancient floor. Your attention is drawn to the doorways, the famous portals of the Tahara. They are carved from huge, single blocks of dark gray stone, polished to a mirror-like sheen that has survived the centuries. Even now, covered in a fine layer of dust, they seem to absorb the light, creating voids of profound darkness in the sunlit ruins. You approach one and run your hand over its surface. It is incredibly smooth, cool to the touch, like still water. The craftsmanship is flawless. It feels less like stone and more like some solidified, eternal element. Standing in this doorway, you are in a liminal space, a place of transition between the outer world of the courtyard and the inner world of the room that is no longer there. You can feel the intention of the architect to create a series of thresholds that would lead a visitor deeper and deeper into a state of quiet and contemplation, shedding the concerns of the outer world with each step. Filtered light is the second motif of this inner sanctum. Where a wall still stands, you can see the deep recesses of what were once windows. The sun does not pour through them. It enters as a solid, geometric shaft of light, illuminating the dust motes that hang suspended in the still air, turning them into a swirling galaxy of tiny golden sparks. You watch one of these beams as it moves slowly, imperceptibly, across the stone floor. It is a natural clock, marking the passage of time in the slowest, most peaceful way imaginable. You can imagine the king, Darius himself, sitting in this quiet space, watching this same slow progression of light, his mind free from the burdens of the empire for a few precious hours. This was his sanctuary, a place to retreat from the demands of his role and reconnect with his own inner world. The peace you feel here is the residue of all those quiet, contemplative moments, a peace that has seeped into the very stones. In this quiet, private space, you can gently reconstruct the inner life of the people who lived here. You can imagine the soft rustle of fine wool robes, the gentle clink of a ceramic cup being placed on a wooden table, the low murmur of a private conversation. These are not the grand echoes of history, but the soft, intimate sounds of a home. You can almost smell the faint, lingering scent of the cedar wood that made up the roof and the furniture, its clean, resinous fragrance, a constant, subtle perfume. You can imagine the feel of heavy, woven hangings on the walls, their textures absorbing both sound and light, adding to the sense of peace and enclosure. This is a space designed for the quiet of the self, a stark contrast to the outer world of community and empire you explored earlier. It is a reminder of the essential human need for both the connection to the many and the solitude of the one. And it is in the balance between these two poles that a harmonious life is found. Here, in the deep, cool shade, you feel the profound peace that comes from being alone, from being able to hear your own thoughts, to feel your own breath, without distraction. The stillness deepens, and your breath follows. From the relative openness of the courtyard, you are drawn towards a smaller, more enclosed space at the back of the palace complex. It is a small, almost hidden room, its walls more intact than the others. The entrance is a low doorway, and you have to stoop slightly to enter. Inside, it takes a moment for your eyes to adjust. It is a world of deep shadow, the air thick with the cool, mineral scent of old stone. This, you imagine, was a small, quiet shrine, a place for personal devotion. There is no grand altar, no imposing statue. Perhaps there was only a small, eternal flame burning in a niche, a symbol of the presence of the great god, Ahura Mazda. The only light comes from a narrow slit, high in one wall, a single, brilliant sliver of the bright afternoon outside. It does not illuminate the room so much as emphasize its darkness, its sacred, protected nature. Here, the silence is absolute. It is a positive force, a thick, velvety blanket that muffles all thought, all worry. You stand in the center of the room and simply let this silence wash over you. It feels ancient, primordial. It is the silence that existed before the world was made, and the silence that will remain when all is gone. In this profound quiet, you become intensely aware of the subtle, internal sounds of your own body, the soft, rhythmic beat of your heart, the gentle, oceanic rise and fall of your own breathing. You are a living being in a chamber of eternal stone, a fleeting warmth in a timeless coolness. There is no sense of fear or loneliness in this darkness, only a feeling of profound safety and peace. It is a womb of stone, a place to be held and protected by the earth itself. You can feel the immense weight of the stones around you, the stability of the mountain beneath you. You are utterly secure. This is a space for pure being, beyond thought, beyond identity. It is a place to dissolve into the quiet and simply be. You feel the ancient calm, and you breathe with it. Your breath so slow and quiet, it seems to merge with the silence itself. This small shrine is a place of profound solitude. It is not the loneliness of isolation, but the rich, full solitude of connection to something deeper. It is the quiet center, the still point of the turning world. You reflect on the nature of the sacred. It is not always found in grand temples or elaborate rituals. Sometimes, it is found in the smallest, simplest, quietest of places. It is found in the darkness that allows you to see your own inner light, in the silence that allows you to hear the whisper of your own soul. The kings who built this city, for all their power and wealth, understood this. They understood the need for a place like this, a humble, hidden sanctuary, where the soul could be nourished in silence and shadow. This room is the spiritual heart of the palace, the source of the quiet strength that radiated outwards into the rest of the empire. It is a testament to the idea that true power comes not from outward display, but from a deep and quiet inner connection to the sacred. After a long time in the deep, comforting dark of the shrine, you stoop and exit back into the filtered light of the palace. Your eyes, now accustomed to the gloom, are dazzled for a moment by the brightness. The world seems vibrant, almost new. The play of light and shadow in the courtyard looks sharper, more defined. The quiet here, which had seemed so deep before, now feels light and airy compared to the absolute silence of the shrine. You have been changed by the experience, recalibrated to a deeper level of peace. You feel cleansed, renewed. You find a shaded spot to sit on a low stone ledge, and you let the feeling of this inner peace settle and expand within you. Your journey through the inner sanctum is not yet complete. There is one more space to explore, a place not of kingship or devotion, but of knowledge. You make your way towards the remains of the treasury, a vast complex of storerooms and halls adjacent to the private palaces. Much of it was destroyed in the Great Fire set by Alexander the Great, and its ruins are more chaotic, more stark than the elegant palaces. But it is here that the administrative records of the empire were kept, the thousands of clay tablets that were the empire's memory. You find a corner of the treasury that is relatively intact, a series of small, interconnected rooms with thick walls. This, you imagine, was the scriptorium or the archives, the library of the empire. You step into one of these rooms. The air is dry and warm, and it smells of baked earth and dust. The light is dim, filtering through broken walls and doorways. The feeling here is different from the king's palace or the shrine. It is a place of ordered, silent work, but it is also a place of immense, contained power, the power of knowledge. You can imagine the walls, lined with wooden shelves, and on those shelves, thousands upon thousands of clay tablets and papyrus scrolls, each one a piece of information, a part of the vast, intricate puzzle of the empire. Here were the records of tribute, the maps of distant provinces, the astronomical observations of Babylonian priests, the histories of the kings, the sacred texts of the Zoroastrian faith. You run your hand along a rough stone wall, and you can almost feel the presence of all that lost knowledge, the hum of all those recorded words. This was the mind of the empire, a vast repository of thought and fact. You can imagine the scholars and scribes working here in the quiet, their lives dedicated to the preservation and organization of this knowledge. It was a sacred trust. You find a single, flat piece of baked clay on the ground, a fragment of a tablet perhaps. You pick it up. It is warm from the sun, and its texture is rough. There are no markings on it, but you hold in your hand a piece of this great lost library. You hold the silence where words used to be. The reflection that comes to you is about the nature of permanence. The kings built their palaces of the finest stone, believing they would last forever. But it was the humble clay tablets, baked hard in the fire that destroyed the city, that survived most completely. carrying their mundane messages into the future. It is a quiet lesson in what truly endures. This room, this remnant of a study, is a place of deep contemplation. It invites you to think about the relationship between the outer world of action and the inner world of thought. The empire was run from this quiet room as much as it was from the throne hall. The decisions of the king were informed by the knowledge stored here. The inner world and the outer world were in constant dialogue. And in this ruin, that dialogue continues. The physical reality of the broken stones speaks of impermanence and destruction. But the imaginative reality of the knowledge it once held speaks of the enduring power of the human mind to create order, to seek understanding, and to record its journey. The stillness here is the stillness of a great library after closing time, a quiet filled with the potential of all the words resting on the shelves. It is a peaceful, intellectual quiet, a quiet that invites you to be still and to know. As the afternoon begins to wane, the light softens, and the shadows lengthen once more. The fierce heat abates, and a gentle breeze begins to stir the air. Your journey through the inner sanctum is coming to a close. You have moved through the private world of the king, the sacred world of the shrine, and the intellectual world of the archives. Each space has offered a different flavor of solitude, a different texture of silence. You have experienced the peace of personal retreat, the deep quiet of spiritual connection, and the contemplative stillness of stored knowledge. You have come to understand this place not as a monolithic monument to power, but as a complex and nuanced environment that provided space for all the different facets of the human experience, the public and the private, the communal and the solitary, the active and the contemplative. You find your way back to the courtyard of the Takara Palace. You return to the great polished stone doorway that first captured your imagination. You stand before it in the soft, golden light of the late afternoon. The sky, visible through the doorframe where a room once stood, is a serene, cloudless blue. The interplay of light and shadow is softer now, less dramatic. The entire scene is imbued with a sense of deep, dreamlike peace. This will be your closing image, your loopable moment of stillness. You are looking at a doorway that leads from a courtyard that is open to the sky into a room that no longer exists. It is a frame around a piece of empty, peaceful air. It is a threshold between what was and what is, between the solid and the void. It speaks of presence and absence, of memory and emptiness, all held in a perfect, harmonious balance. The shadow of the doorjamb is a deep, velvety black on the sun-warmed floor. There is no movement. There is no sound. There is only the silent, beautiful geometry of stone, light, and shadow. And you, a quiet witness, breathing in the profound peace of this inner sanctum, you return to the heart of the great terrace. The feeling of the cool, enclosed inner sanctums still lingering on your skin. The air now is soft and warm, carrying the golden light of the late afternoon. You see again the silent, beautiful geometry of stone, light, and shadow, a memory that has settled deep within you. The fierce heat of midday was fading, and a gentle breeze kept stirring, whispering through the broken colonnades. Here, at the cusp of evening, a new kind of magic is beginning to settle over the ruins, a transformation born of fading light and lengthening shadows. You feel the ancient calm, and you breathe with it, your breath as gentle as the breeze that now begins to move across the ancient stones. Your journey now leads you to the spaces that speak most eloquently of transformation, of the slow, graceful dialogue between human creation and the patient reclamation by nature. You are walking towards the grand staircase of the Apadana, the great audience hall. This is not the public entrance, but the more ornate eastern stair, once reserved for the king and his court. It is famous for its vast and intricate tapestry of reliefs, a frozen procession of all the peoples of the empire. As you approach, the setting sun illuminates the carvings, its low, angled light catching every detail, and casting soft shadows that give the figures an astonishing three-dimensional light. These stones were not always the pale, uniform honey color they are today. Long ago, they were vividly painted. Traces of lapis blue, malachite green, vermilion red, and brilliant gold once adorned these figures, making the procession a dazzling spectacle of color and life. You stand before a section of the relief, depicting a line of Persian guards, the immortals. You can see the incredible detail of their pleated robes, their curled beards, the bows on their backs. And if you look closely, in the most sheltered corners of the carvings, you can almost see the faintest ghost of that ancient color. A subtle stain of ochre in the fold of a robe, a hint of black on a sandal strap. But mostly, the color is gone. You are witnessing the great transformation. You can imagine the slow process, a gradual fading that took place over centuries. The fierce sun was slowly bleaching the pigments, year after year. The infrequent but powerful winter rains were washing them away, molecule by molecule. A slow tide of water carrying the colors back into the earth from which they came. The wind, carrying fine particles of sand, was gently abrading the surface, polishing away the paint like the softest of cloths. This was not a violent destruction, but a gentle, inexorable process, as natural as a seasonal cycle. Instead of feeling a sense of loss for the brilliant spectacle that is gone, you are filled with a profound appreciation for the beauty that has been revealed. As the colors faded, the pure form of the carving emerged. The focus shifted from the vibrant, lifelike surface to the essential, timeless artistry of the sculpture itself. The elegant lines, the rhythmic composition, the interplay of light and shadow on the pure stone. The meaning was transformed. The relief was no longer a depiction of a specific, earthly procession, a display of temporal power. It was becoming something more universal, more elemental. It was becoming a story told not in the fleeting language of color, but in the eternal language of stone. You trace the outline of a carved lotus flower held in a guard's hand. The form is perfect, serene. Its beauty is now a quieter, more contemplative kind, a beauty that asks you to look more deeply, to appreciate the substance over the surface. The slow tide of time was not erasing the meaning, it was deepening it, transforming worldly grandeur into a more profound, more spiritual art. From the faded painted reliefs of the Apadana, you wander towards the vast footprint of what was once the Hall of 100 Columns, the great throne hall of the empire. This was once the largest enclosed space on the terrace, a massive hypostyle hall where the king would hold audience, its roof supported by a forest of 100 colossal columns. Today, only the bases of the columns and a few shattered stumps remain. The roof is gone. The walls are gone. The great hall is now a vast, open-air stone floor under the immense and open sky. This is a place of profound transformation, a library of imperial decrees that has become a wild garden. You step onto the stone floor. It is a mosaic of massive, perfectly fitted flagstones, and the cracks that have appeared between them over the centuries. And in every crack, life has found a foothold. Small, delicate wildflowers, their petals the color of the evening sky, grow in defiant little clusters. Hardy grasses push their green shoots up towards the light. A tough, sprawling caper bush has taken root at the base of a shattered column, its thorny branches creating a miniature, wild thicket. Lizards, the color of the pale stone, dart across the floor, pausing to sun themselves on the warm surfaces. Nature has not conquered this place. It has adopted it. It has found a new kind of garden bed in the ruins of a throne room. The space is still a hall, but its ceiling is now the ever-changing sky, and its pillars are the shafts of evening light. It is still a place of audience, but the audience is now between the patient stone and the silent, watching stars. You walk to the center of this open-air hall and sit down on the base of a column. The stone is carved with intricate patterns, still sharp after all this time. You run your fingers over them, As you look out at this unique landscape, you reflect on how meaning is transformed. This space was built to contain and focus power, to create a sense of overwhelming, enclosed grandeur. Now, its meaning is the exact opposite. It is a space of openness, of release, of connection to the vastness of the natural world. The destruction of its roof, which marked the end of its original purpose, was also the beginning of its new life. It was an opening, an invitation for the sun, the rain, the wind, and the seeds they carry to come in and make a new home. What was once a symbol of human dominion over nature has become a beautiful example of nature's gentle, persistent embrace of human creation. The geological time of the stone and the seasonal cycles of the plants are now in a quiet, harmonious dialogue. The hall has not lost its sacredness. It has found a new, quieter, more natural kind of sanctity. As you sit there, a small bird with a bright blue throat lands on a broken piece of a capital nearby. It tilts its head, looks at you with a bright, intelligent eye, and then lets out a clear, fluting call. The sound is startlingly pure and beautiful in the immense quiet. It is a song that the kings and courtiers in their throne hall never heard. It is a song that belongs to this new life, this new meaning. The bird sings its short, perfect song, and then flies off, a little streak of blue against the pale stone. The silence that follows is deeper, richer, for having been momentarily broken by such a simple, beautiful sound. You feel a sense of joy, a quiet gratitude for this moment of unexpected beauty. It is a gift from the transformed space, a sign of its living, breathing presence. The world keeps settling into a new kind of order, and you are here to witness its quiet, unfolding grace. Your final destination on this journey of transformation is a space that has been repurposed by the imagination. Persepolis did not have an open-air theater in the Greek tradition, but as you look out from the ruins of the Hall of 100 Columns towards the Apadana, you see one. The great audience hall itself, once a covered building on its own raised platform, now serves as the stage. Its few remaining columns are the stage set, the backdrop for a slow, silent drama. And you, sitting here on the floor of the throne room, are the audience. The play that is being performed is one of light, shadow, and time. The sun is very low now, a great, fiery orange ball hanging just above the horizon. Its light is soft, theatrical. The long, impossibly deep purple shadows of the Apadana's columns are stretching across the terrace, moving with an imperceptible slowness. They are the main actors in this drama. You watch as one shadow slowly creeps towards you, its edge soft and blurry. You watch as it touches your foot, and then slowly slides up your leg. The cool of the shadow, a tangible sensation on your warm skin. This is a drama on a geological timescale. The movements are patient. The plot is the simple, eternal cycle of day and night. The script is written in the language of light. The clouds drifting high overhead are part of the performance, their slow, majestic procession adding another layer of movement, another measure of time. A flight of birds crosses the sky, a fleeting, choreographed moment against the vast backdrop. There is no applause, no curtain call. There is only the silent, continuous, and deeply beautiful performance of the world itself. This open-air theater, created by the fall of a roof and the passage of time, offers a more profound spectacle than any human play ever could. It teaches you to see the drama in the ordinary, the beauty in the slow unfolding processes of the universe. It transforms you from a visitor in a ruin to a member of the audience for the grand, quiet theater of existence. Now, you lie back on the cool stone floor, your head pillowed on your hands, and you look straight up. Your view is framed by the broken stumps of the columns around you. You are looking at the ceiling of this new hall, the deepening blue of the twilight sky. The transformation is complete. What was once an interior space, designed to shut out the world, is now a perfect frame for looking into the infinite. The first star of evening appears, a tiny, sharp point of diamond light in the vast, soft blue. It twinkles, a silent, rhythmic pulse. The sky is no longer a backdrop. It is the main event. You are not just looking at it, you are in it. The stones around you are an anchor, a connection to the earth, while your gaze, your consciousness, is free to travel into the cosmic depths. The meaning of this space has been inverted and expanded. From a hall meant to celebrate the power of one man, one king, it has been transformed into a temple where any quiet soul can come to contemplate the vast, mysterious, and beautiful power of the universe. The continuous shifting of the light, the slow turning of the earth, the patient emergence of the stars. This is the new ceremony that is performed here, day after day, night after night. And its only requirement for attendance is stillness, patience, and a willingness to see the world with new eyes. The light is almost gone. The sun has disappeared, leaving behind a magnificent afterglow of deep orange, pink, and violet that stains the western horizon. The ruins are now dark silhouettes against this fading celestial fire. The air is cool and still. The transformation from day to night is almost complete. Another act in the silent play. You sit up and look around. The world is soft, indistinct, magical. The hard edges of the stone are gone, blurred into the growing darkness. It is a time of peace, of transition, of letting go. You have witnessed the gentle reclamation, the slow tides of time that have washed over this place. You have seen how color fades to reveal form, how an enclosed hall opens to become a garden, how a place of power becomes a stage for the quiet drama of the cosmos. And the reflection that settles in your heart is one of deep and abiding hope. It is the understanding that meaning is not lost over time. It is not destroyed. It is gracefully transformed. Ruin is not an end. It is a metamorphosis. Nature does not erase what humanity has built. It incorporates it, reinterprets it, and turns it into a new, quieter kind of beauty. A beauty that speaks not of ambition and glory, but of resilience, harmony, and the peaceful, eternal dance of creation and decay. Your final looping image from this part of the journey is the view from your seat on the throne room floor. You are looking at the silhouette of a single broken column of the Apadana against the last deep violet light of the sky. Just above the jagged top of the column, the first, brightest star of evening has appeared. It shines with a steady, unwavering light. The image holds in perfect balance the work of human hands and the vastness of the cosmos, the brokenness of time and the eternity of the universe, the dark earth below and the luminous heavens above. It is an image of profound peace and transformed meaning. It is a quiet promise that even in endings, there are new beginnings, and that even in what is lost, a new and perhaps even more beautiful meaning is waiting to be found. The breeze was drifting through the ruins, and the great silence kept settling deeper and deeper over the sleeping stones. You return to the terrace as the last vestiges of twilight fade from the sky, leaving a deep, star-dusted velvet. The air is cool and carries the clean, mineral scent of the ancient stones. You feel the profound quiet left by the slow, theatrical performance of the setting sun, a silence that seems to emanate from the earth itself. The memory of the single, broken column against the evening star remains with you, a symbol of graceful transformation. Now, your journey takes you deeper, away from the grand architectural forms and towards the fundamental, elemental presences that have shaped this place on a scale far beyond human history. You are going to listen to the whispers of the elements, to feel time not in centuries, but in millennia. You feel the ancient calm, and you breathe with it, your breath a slow, quiet tide in the vast ocean of the night. Your feet guide you, almost of their own accord, to a feature you had noticed earlier in the daylight, one of the great stone-carved drainage channels that run along the edges of the terrace. In the darkness, it appears as a long, straight shadow, a cut in the fabric of the starlit ground. You carefully make your way to its edge and sit down, dangling your feet into the channel. It is not a natural riverbed, but it has shared the same fate. For 2,500 years, it has lain empty for most of the year, waiting. But during the short, intense rainy season, it roars to life, channeling torrents of water away from the terrace and down to the plain below. It is a place that knows both profound emptiness and overwhelming fullness. You reach down and touch the bottom. The stone is not rough or sharp-edged like the carved blocks of the palaces. It is incredibly smooth, undulating, and cool, like the skin of a living creature. This smoothness is the work of water, the patient, persistent sculptor. Each winter, for thousands of years, the rushing water, carrying grit and sand, has acted as a liquid file, smoothing away the marks of the original human carvers, rounding every corner, softening every edge. The process is immeasurably slow, a polishing that takes place on a geological timescale. You are touching the result of millennia of water's patient, wearing away action. You close your eyes and focus on the sensation of the stone beneath your fingertips. It is a direct, physical connection to deep time. You can almost feel the memory of the water that has passed over it. You can imagine the roar of the winter floods, the powerful churning chaos of the water, and then the long, slow, silent process of evaporation and drying, leaving the channel empty and quiet under the sun once more. This cycle is far older and more fundamental than the empire that built this city. This channel, built for a human purpose, has been reclaimed by an elemental process. It is no longer just a drain. It is a testament to the quiet, relentless power of water. The verbs that come to mind are those of slow, persistent action: smoothing, carving, polishing, wearing away. Water, the softest of elements, has reshaped the hardest of stones. It is a profound lesson in the power of gentleness and persistence. This dry riverbed, in its smooth, silent, starlit beauty, whispers a story of elemental presence, a story that makes the rise and fall of empires seem like a brief and fleeting dream. From the water-smoothed stone, you are drawn to look up, towards the mountain that cradles Persepolis, the Ku-e-Rahmat, the mountain of mercy. Carved into its rock face, high above the terrace, are the magnificent tombs of the Achaemenid kings. In the starlight, they are faint, ghostly presences, grand architectural facades carved directly into the living rock. You decide to climb. There is a path, ancient and worn, that winds its way up the side of the mountain. Your pace is slow and steady, your breathing measured. The higher you climb, the more the terrace spreads out below you, like a map made of shadows and starlight. The air grows cooler, thinner. Finally, you arrive on a wide ledge before one of the great tombs, perhaps that of Artaxerxes II. The tomb's entrance is a massive cross-shaped carving, a replica of the king's palace facade, with columns, doorways, and a platform where the king himself is shown praying before a sacred fire under the symbol of Ahura Mazda. Here, you encounter the second of the whispering elements, the wind. Up here, away from the shelter of the terrace walls, the wind is a constant presence. It is a clean, powerful, and ancient force, flowing over the mountain from the high plateaus of Persia. It has been blowing against this rock face for millions of years. As you stand before the tomb, you can hear the sound it makes. A low, resonant hum, a deep sigh that seems to come from the stone itself. It is the sound of the wind finding every tiny crack and crevice, every carved line and recessed surface, and making it sing. This is not the gentle breeze of the terrace below. This is a sculptor's breath, a force of immense patience and power. You reach out and touch the surface of the carved relief. The edges of the figures, which must have been sharp and crisp when first cut, have been softened. The fine details have been blurred. The wind, carrying its invisible tools of dust and sand, has been sandblasting this monument for 25 centuries. It is another form of polishing, another slow act of transformation. The stone is being gently, relentlessly carved by the air itself. The verbs are those of elemental action: breathing, sighing, carving, eroding. The wind is slowly claiming the tomb, making it less a work of man and more a part of the mountain itself. It is smoothing the human story back into the geological one. You can feel the vibration of the wind in the rock under your hand, a low, steady hum. You are feeling the pulse of a process that operates on a timescale that dwarfs human comprehension. You feel your own smallness, not in a frightening way, but in a deeply peaceful, liberating way. You are a momentary witness to an eternal conversation between the stone and the wind. While standing on this high ledge, you turn your back to the tomb and look down upon the sleeping city of Persepolis. The view is magnificent. The entire layout of the terrace is visible, a geometric pattern of darkness and faint, reflected starlight. The columns of the Apadana are thin, dark needles. The gate of all nations is a heavy block of shadow. From this height, it looks like a model, a blueprint of a dream. And as you watch, you feel yourself not as a human looking down on a ruin, but as a part of the mountain itself, a part of the wind, observing the slow, inevitable processes of time. You recognize the ancient, living stories held within the elements themselves. The water tells a story of patient smoothing. The wind tells a story of persistent carving. And the stone itself, the foundation of it all, tells a story of immense, silent endurance. These stories are older, deeper, and truer than any history of kings and conquests. They are the fundamental truths of existence. The feeling is one of moving beyond the human scale of time into a sense of deep time, of geological presence. The stillness deepens, and your breath follows, merging with the long, slow breath of the wind sighing over the mountain. Your descent from the mountain is slow, your steps careful in the darkness. You feel changed by the perspective from the tomb. You have felt the mountain's own point of view. When you reach the terrace again, you do not return to the grand halls. You seek out the third elemental presence, the story of life itself in its most ancient form. At the very edge of the terrace, near the southern retaining wall, you find what you are looking for. It is a single, ancient tree. It is perhaps a wild pistachio or a gnarled fig, a species native to this land and known for its incredible resilience. It is not large, but its form speaks of immense age. It is growing from a deep fissure in the stone foundations, its roots having found their way down into the earth beneath the terrace, anchoring it firmly to the mountain. Its trunk is thick and twisted, its bark a cracked and deeply grooved landscape of its own. It looks less like a plant and more like a piece of living sculpture. This is a moment to omit the imaginative historical layer, to focus purely on the sensory reality of this present living being. You stand before it in the starlight, a silent communion. You reach out and place your palm on its trunk. The bark is rough, warm, and profoundly solid. It feels like a living, breathing thing, which of course it is. You can feel the slow, steady pulse of life within it, the patient, upward draw of water from the deep earth, the silent, miraculous process of turning starlight into life. You can smell its unique scent, a dry, dusty, slightly sweet fragrance that is the tree's own breath. You look up into its branches. They are twisted and gnarled, reaching out not in a perfect, symmetrical pattern, but in a chaotic, beautiful tangle that tells the story of its long struggle for light and life. It has endured centuries of scorching summers and cold winters. It has been battered by winds and starved by droughts. Yet it stands. It lives. It is a symbol of life's incredible tenacity, its ability to find a foothold in the most inhospitable of places. This tree is a bridge between the mineral world of the stone and the living world of which you are a part. Its roots are in the deep past of the earth, and its leaves are in the living present of the night air. It is the living, breathing embodiment of deep time. In its presence, you feel a connection to the long, unbroken chain of life on this planet. It asks for nothing. It teaches nothing in words. It simply is, and in its being, it offers a profound sense of peace and continuity. The wind rustles its leaves, a soft, shushing sound that is different from the wind's hum against the rock. It is a gentler sound, the sound of life interacting with the elements. This encounter with the three elements, the water-smoothed stone, the wind-carved rock, and the ancient, living tree, completes this part of your journey. You have stepped outside of the human story of Persepolis and have listened to the older, deeper stories of the earth itself. You have felt time on a scale that is difficult to put into words, a vast, slow, and patient unfolding. The reflection that settles upon you is one of interconnectedness. The human story, for all its grandeur and drama, is just one thin layer, one recent chapter in the immense book of this place. The true and enduring story is the one told by the elements, the slow dance of water and stone, the constant breath of the wind, the tenacious, silent growth of life. To feel this is to feel a sense of belonging to something much larger than yourself, much larger than human history. It is to recognize yourself as a part of this elemental world, made of the same stardust as the stones, animated by the same breath as the wind, sustained by the same life force as the tree. You are not just an observer. You are a participant in these ancient, living stories. As you prepare to rest, you find a place to sit with your back against the warm, rough bark of the ancient tree. You are sheltered from the wind. Before you, the starlit expanse of the ruins lies in profound silence. You look at the water-smooth channel, now just a dark line in the distance. You look up at the mountain, where the wind is forever singing its low, patient song to the tombs of forgotten kings. And you feel the slow, steady life of the tree supporting you. This is your final, looping image, the feeling of being held. You are being held by a living tree, which is held by the stone terrace, which is held by the ancient mountain, which is held by the turning earth, all of it turning silently under a vast, silent, star-filled sky. It is an image of perfect, layered, interconnected peace. You are safe. You are part of everything, and everything is part of you. The cadence of your own quiet breathing becomes measured and patient, mirroring the slow, natural processes all around you. You are breathing with the earth. You are at peace in the heart of deep time. You return to the quiet of the great terrace, held by the presence of the ancient tree. The night is at its deepest, a cool, silent, and luminous darkness. The stars are not just in the sky above. They seem to have settled into the stones around you, their faint, cold light gleaming on the water-smooth channels and the wind-polished reliefs. The feeling of deep, geological time is now a part of you, a slow, steady rhythm in your own heart. You have felt the stories of water, wind, and life, and they have prepared you for this final stage of your journey, the ascent to timeless stillness, the gentle dissolving of the boundary between you and the vast, peaceful universe. The breath anchor concept becomes more frequent now, a recurring touchstone as you move towards complete integration. The stillness deepens, and your breath follows, a quiet anchor in the deep ocean of the night. Your journey is one of ascent. You leave the shelter of the wise old tree and begin to walk, once more, towards the path that leads up the Ku-e-Rahmat, the mountain of mercy. Your steps are slow and deliberate, your body feeling light and calm. You are not climbing to conquer or to achieve a goal, but simply to rise, to gently elevate your perspective one last time. You pass the level of the royal tombs, their great carved faces now just deep shadows in the mountainside, their human stories given back to the silence of the rock. You continue upward, the path becoming steeper, more rugged. The terrace of Persepolis shrinks below you, its careful geometry becoming clearer. a pattern of human thought laid out upon the dark earth. The higher you climb, the more the world expands. The vast plain of Marvdasht, invisible in the darkness, becomes a tangible presence, an immense, flat emptiness that cradles the island of light and shadow that is Persepolis. Finally, you reach your destination, a quiet, elevated viewpoint, high on the shoulder of the mountain, a place that feels like the very top of the world. It is a small, flat space of bare rock, weathered by eons of wind and sun. You have arrived at your final, secluded resting point. You sit down, the stone of the mountain cool and solid beneath you. The wind up here is a steady, unimpeded river of air, but it is not cold or harsh. It feels cleansing, a current of pure energy flowing past you, carrying away the last vestiges of any lingering thought, leaving your mind as clear and open as the night sky above. From here, you can see everything. The ruins of the city below are a quiet, sleeping memory. The vast plain is a sea of darkness, and above you, the cosmos unfolds in its silent, breathtaking majesty. This is where you begin the final theme of your journey: integration, and the move from observer to participant. For all your travels through this ancient place, you have been a witness, a listener, a gentle reconstructor of the past. Now, that role begins to dissolve. The elevated perspective is not just physical, it is spiritual. You are no longer looking at Persepolis. You are looking at the world with Persepolis, as a part of the greater landscape. You feel the mountain beneath you not as something you are sitting on, but as an extension of your own body, a solid, ancient foundation. The wind that flows around you is not something you are feeling on your skin, but is the breath of the world, a breath you are sharing. And here, in the quiet, you find your breath, and you realize it is the same breath. Your slow inhale is the world breathing in. Your gentle exhale is the world breathing out. You are no longer separate. The night sky is the grand cathedral for this final meditation. The stars are overwhelmingly brilliant, so clear and numerous that they form a luminous, shimmering canopy from horizon to horizon. The Milky Way is a thick, glowing river of light, a celestial path stretching across the entire dome of the sky. You let your gaze soften, taking in the entire spectacle at once, not focusing on any single star or constellation. You are not studying the sky, you are bathing in its light, a light that has traveled for thousands, even millions of years, to reach you in this precise moment. You feel the sheer scale of it all, the unimaginable vastness of space, the silent, graceful turning of the galaxies, and in this moment, you feel your own sense of scale shift. The worries and concerns of your individual life, which can seem so large and important, are seen from this perspective for what they are: tiny, fleeting sparks in an immense, eternal fire. This realization brings not a sense of insignificance, but one of profound liberation. You are a part of this cosmic dance, a tiny, intricate, and beautiful part of a whole that is beyond comprehension. The feeling is one of coming home. A long, slow sensory loop begins, a cadence that will carry you through the rest of this final part. It starts with the light. You gaze into the river of the Milky Way, at the soft, pearlescent glow of countless distant suns, and you feel that ancient light on your face. It is a light that holds the history of the universe. Then, your awareness moves from the light to the texture of the rock beneath you. You press your hands flat against the mountain, feeling its rough, solid grain, its deep, resonant coolness. This rock is the dust of ancient stars, solidified into a planetary home. It connects you, through touch, to the same cosmic origins you see in the sky. From the texture of the rock, your awareness shifts to the sound, or the absence of it. You listen to the low, steady voice of the wind, the only sound in this vast emptiness. It is the sound of the planet turning, the sound of the atmosphere moving in its eternal currents. It is the music of the spheres, played on a single, resonant note. And from that sound, your awareness finally settles into the silence that underlies it. A deep, universal silence that is not empty, but full. It is the silence of the space between the stars, the silence of the deep earth beneath you, the silence of your own quiet mind. Light to texture, to sound, to silence. The loop repeats, each cycle drawing you deeper into a state of integrated, peaceful being. Light. You notice the subtle colors in the night sky, the faint red of a distant nebula, the brilliant blue-white of a young hot star, the soft yellow of a sun like our own. The universe is not just black and white. It is a tapestry of muted, magnificent color, a slow-motion fireworks display that has been exploding for billions of years. You are a part of that color, a part of that light. Texture. You shift your position slightly, feeling the unyielding solidity of the mountain. You feel its immense weight, its patient strength. It is holding you, supporting you in the vastness of space. You feel utterly safe, anchored to this celestial body as it journeys through the cosmos. You are a part of its strength, its patience. Sound. You listen to the variations in the wind's voice. You hear it sigh as it passes over a sharp edge of rock. You hear it hum as it flows across the open space where you sit. It is a language without words, a story of movement and energy. It is the breath of the world, and you are listening to its song. Silence. You let go of all sensation and just rest in the stillness. It is a state of pure awareness, of being without doing. The boundary between your own inner stillness and the vast stillness of the universe dissolves completely. You are not a person sitting on a mountain. You are a point of still consciousness within a universe of still consciousness. You feel the ancient calm, and you breathe with it. In this state of deep integration, you look down one last time at the ruins of Persepolis. It is no longer a historical site. It is a mandala, a sacred pattern on the earth. Its ordered layout, its broken columns, its silent halls, they are all part of a larger, cosmic pattern. You see how the lines of the city align with the cardinal directions, a conscious effort by its builders to harmonize their world with the cosmos. You see how its ruin is a part of the natural cycle of creation and decay, the same cycle that governs the birth and death of stars. You see how its present stillness is a perfect reflection of the stillness you now feel within yourself and all around you. You are not just looking at it, you are it. Your own stillness is part of the vast, peaceful cycle of the universe. The separation is an illusion. There is only one thing, one great, silent, breathing, shining, and peaceful existence. And you are that. The moon, a slender, silver crescent, begins to rise in the east, its gentle, reflected light casting the softest of shadows. It adds another layer of beauty to the scene. Its cool light, a gentle contrast to the sharp, fiery light of the stars. It is a final, graceful touch in the grand, silent performance of the night. It is a signal that the journey is complete. You have traveled from the threshold to the inner sanctum, from the echoes of life to the whispers of the elements, and finally to this place of timeless stillness. You have moved from observer to participant. You have found the peace that lies not in a place, but in a state of being, a state of connection to the whole. This is the final, closing image, the one that can loop indefinitely in your mind, a sanctuary of peace to which you can always return. You are resting on the cool, solid rock of a high mountain. The steady, cleansing wind is breathing around you. Below, the ancient city sleeps, a testament to the beautiful, fleeting dreams of humanity. Above, the silent, magnificent river of stars flows in its eternal course. The rising crescent moon casts a gentle, silvery light upon your closed eyelids. You are not looking at the scene anymore. You are simply feeling it. You are feeling your own quiet presence as an inseparable part of this vast, silent, and deeply peaceful whole. There is nowhere else to go. There is nothing else to do. There is nothing to seek. Everything is already here. Everything is already perfect. The stillness is absolute, and your breath, silent and slow, rises and falls with the turning of the timeless starlit world. You are at peace.